the conclusion to the last. No, it's not the last chapter itself.
Good morning, and welcome to All People's Church Unitarian Universalist. My name is Marianne Clark, and I am your co-celebrant this morning. Our minister, Lori King Nelson, is in the pulpit. All People's Church is more than a place to gather on Sundays. It is a community, a spiritual home where you may develop and deepen your gifts. We gather to feed our minds and souls that we may each become blessings to our families, to our friends, and to the larger world around us. We understand that church is not something outside us, but something between us. What is holy here are our relationships as we come together and support one another in our spiritual development. We especially welcome those who are visiting today. If you haven't yet done so, please sign in at the visitors table by the front door, where you can be placed on our mailing list to receive our weekly newsletter and our weekly emails and a monthly newsletter. Before we continue on to worship, there are a few announcements. And there's Joe.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joe Burnham, here on behalf of Don't Forget to Feed Me, the organization that all of you have been supporting for 5.5 years. Today is the day I ask for donations. If you have $1 or $2 to spare, to help so that people do not have to give up their pets. Elderly folks on Meals on Wheels are also given food for their cats and dogs by Don't Forget to Feed Me, so that they don't have to share their meals or give up their pets. It's very, very important because the shelters are just overstuffed. So if you could spare $1 or $2, please come and see me after service. Any amount helps. And once again, I would like to thank you all so much on behalf of Don't Forget to Feed Me. Thank you.
Our book club group will be meeting in the Jaggers Parlor at 12:30. Is that right, Jane? Do you want to talk about it?
I woke up this morning and I had a summary of this last chapter in my mind, and I just had to share it because I think this may be one of the most significant books that I've read in my life in terms of understanding what's happening today, especially what's happening right now in Los Angeles with, the federal troops going in, National Guard going in, despite the fact that the governor and the mayor asked the federal government not to send them. So this is probably not going to be good, but this whole history that's in this book and it really sums it up in the last chapter, and probably most of our young people would have never learned this in school because it happened while I was alive, so that's why I know. But if you weren't alive, I'm sure they didn't teach this in your classrooms. So I just want to, I'm so glad that Alex is going to do the summary today. It'll be at 12:30 in Jagger's Parlor. If you haven't read it, that's okay, because when she does the summary, you'll be able to participate. Anyway, and I just wanted to say that, okay. Here's how far it goes back in this book, in this last chapter. It goes back to Reagan. It goes back to Clinton, and then George W. Bush, and how things got worse and worse with more prisons, more people being called super predators, and, more suppression of people that are basically poor and probably need some affordable housing, and instead they get prison, right? And so anyway, the last of it, when it really went national, this Texas Tough Approach, was under George Bush, and after 9/11, he pretty much decided not to follow the Geneva Convention and to go ahead and allow torture of, people that might not have even been guilty of anything. And they set up Abu Ghraib, which at least some of the people my age had heard of, but maybe the young people haven't. It was a place where they were torturing people with dogs, electric, rape. It was unbelievable that our country would have been involved in all of that. But anyway, so this last chapter is kind of traced how we got to where we are now. And so anybody that would like to come and hear Alex's summary, we invite you to come and share what you've experienced in your life on this subject, because I know a lot of you know about it. And here's the book. If you haven't got a chance to read it, I think some of us will be putting our books back on the library shelf so you could still read it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Wondering what you can do in response to the current state of affairs in the city, county, and country. Here are just two upcoming events. On June 14th in Burnett Park in downtown Fort Worth, there will be a No Kings rally as part of a nationwide protest planned to coincide with the President's Army Parade. The rally is from 12 to 2 p.m. On June 19th, Juneteenth, is the annual Opal's Walk for Freedom, led by Mrs. Opal Lee herself. It is a 2.5-mile walk from Farrington Field in Fort Worth, celebrating Juneteenth and Miss Opal's work to have this date declared a national holiday. Quite a few of us have participated in this walk in the past, and we would like to have a good APC presence once again. If you are interested and would like more information, see Jane. And now please settle comfortably for our musical prelude.
lovely. Yeah. So if I'm a little hoarse this morning, it's because I was trying to be like a teenager last night at the Stray Kids concert, and I was screaming and yelling with the best of them until close to midnight. So I'm tired, my brain doesn't work, and I don't hear well. It had been a long time since I'd been to a concert like that, and it was glorious. Let us call ourselves to worship with words from Melissa Gibson. All of you, all that you are, is sacred. All of who you are is welcome.
We now invite you to rise in body or spirit for the chalice lighting, our opening hymn, and the spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting words were written by the Reverend Marjorie Montgomery, Minister Emerita of All People's Church, UU. Some of Marjorie's ashes are out in the garden. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and mysteries of this great gift. Please join now in singing our hymn of the month for June, number 1026 in the Teal hymnal, If Every Woman in the World. Join now in our affirmation. The words are in the orders of service and are also projected on the screens. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. The young and heart are now invited to come forward for our time for all ages here in front of the chancel. And there they are.
Oh, here they are. Good morning, friends. You're playing the quiet game. That is nice. Hi. How is everyone this morning? Good. So are y'all glad school's out, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, that used to be my favorite time of year. Yeah, because we got to go places, traveling and stuff. We got to do new things and meet new people. Oh, wow, we're going to have a lot of people on the steps, aren't we? Y'all are all welcome to be up here if you want. And we will just look out at our vast kingdom, okay? So today, I'm talking about pride. Why might I be talking about pride today? Do you need to go get something? If it's okay with them, you can. I don't mind. You need to get something too? Well, we have to, maybe not all of us go get something. So we'll just sit here for just a minute. But so when I'm talking about pride today, and there's a couple of different ways you can think of when you think of pride. One way is like when you're proud of maybe the grades you made in school, or you're proud of yourself for doing something really scary and you did it. Okay, I guess this is like having a hall pass. Okay. So have you ever been proud of yourself for maybe doing something that you were a little afraid to do and then you went ahead and did it?
Yeah.
What? What was it?
I used to sleep with my nightlight
Used to sleep with her nightlight, and now she doesn't. And yes, that's something to be very proud of because you overcame a fear, and that's really wonderful.
I thought the volcano was going to explode, but it did not. It just
Okay.
shoot the lava down.
Okay, so you're really proud of that it worked right, huh? Yeah. Have you ever done something that you were a little afraid to do, but then you did it and it was okay?
We used to these bars, and I jumped off the highest.
You jumped off the highest bar.
Let me tell you.
Wow.
Let me tell you something. I was watching you on the camera.
You were watching me on the camera. That's pretty cool. Wow. So were you a little afraid to jump off at first? But you did it. Did you feel kind of proud of yourself for doing it? Yeah. Sometimes that pride is okay. So I'm also going to be talking about the other side of pride, which sometimes we can be proud of things we shouldn't be proud of. Like maybe what might you have said or done one time that you're not proud that you did? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. You can't think of anything? Okay. Well, sometimes we do something and we're maybe not proud, or we act like we're proud of it, but maybe we shouldn't have done it. You know, sometimes maybe around our friends or something when we're trying to act like we're the cool ones or something. Or maybe one of our friends is trying to act like they're one of the cool ones, and we don't think they should be acting that way. Yeah, because they're not including everything. Well, the final way we can look at pride is this is Pride Month. And what does that mean?
That means we can show a lot of pride.
Well, we can show a lot of pride, but we can also be very inclusive and loving to the gay community. So the whole LGBTQ plus community, this is their time to shine, because historically they have not been allowed to come out of the shadows to be who they are authentically. And so we celebrate them and we are proud with them, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing this month. So I want y'all to always remember that it's okay to be proud of your accomplishments, but there's a lot of ways to be proud, and some good, some bad, and some, like the month of June, is set aside for lifting up other people, okay? All right, y'all go have a fantastic week, and thank you for sitting here with me. All right? Would we like to sing our young ones out? As we leave this friend to every
The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. It is a reminder of that form of love that we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. It is our custom to share the undesignated cash offerings that are collected each week. We do this on a quarterly basis for a nonprofit or charitable organization. Our current Share the Plate recipient is the Underground, sponsored by Unbound Now, to help victims of human trafficking. If you prefer, donations can be made using a QR code. It is on the back of the order of service. The offering will now be accepted. Will the ushers please come forward?
So I know that this says reading. I am going to read it, but it is the first part of my message today. G.K. Chesterton remarked, "If I had only one sermon to preach, it would be a sermon against pride." Well, if I had only one sermon to preach, I think it would be a sermon against the wrong sort of pride. When you think of a prideful person, what image comes to mind? Someone all wrapped up in themselves, constantly talking about how remarkable they are? Or that Facebook friend who's endlessly bragging about himself and posting selfies while attending different events, eating out in different restaurants, traveling to different cities, or maybe even standing next to someone famous. Or maybe you picture rich celebrities who are always photographed at the most exclusive clubs, exuding an air of entitlement or expressing an attitude of, "I'm better than you." While these can all be examples of prideful people, there's one flaw in this mindset. Did you notice it? When we think about pride, we've usually got someone else in mind. But what if we turn our gaze inward and look seriously at ourselves? Everyone has been given a unique set of gifts and talents, and we should put them all to good use. For many of us, when we're using our gifts, we feel a sense of exhilaration. We feel alive because we're fulfilling a purpose, because we've found our place in the world. But it's the moments that follow this exhilaration that matter the most. If we take those feelings of exhilaration and accomplishment and turn them inward, giving credit solely to ourselves, then we're being prideful. However, if we look at what we accomplish and turn our gazes outward, being grateful for those gifts, then we can be proud of using them in a way that lifts others and affirms the dignity and worth of all of us. Muhammad Ali, one of the most famous boxers of all time, developed the catchphrase, "I am the greatest." A popular anecdote over the years had Ali on an airplane being pressed by a flight attendant to fasten his seatbelt before takeoff. Ali replied, "Superman don't need no seatbelt." To which the flight attendant replied, "Superman don't need no airplane." So whether or not this exchange really took place, it does show how pride can blind us sometimes, even to the point of serious injury or death. In contrast to that, think about the quarterback tempted to make the success of the team all about himself. Instead, he humbles himself in recognizing the whole team in the accomplishment. For every vice, there is a corresponding virtue. Whenever a person struggles with pride, they can overcome it by practicing humility. C.S. Lewis wrote, "True humility isn't thinking less of yourself, but it is thinking of yourself less." What does a humble person look like? Who comes to mind? Saint Teresa? Pope Francis? Maybe the brave firefighters who run into a burning building when everyone else is running out? Or the exhausted parents working 2 jobs to provide for their family? Or the volunteer who's spent her last 3 summer vacations helping those living in impoverished and war-torn regions across the world? Being humble is a great virtue to practice, especially in today's society where there's so much focus on the individual. Everything from the food we eat to where and how we shop, and that includes online, to the types of movies and TV shows we watch, or what we chat or post about on social media. All of that is tailor-made to suit the needs of each person. So much of our culture is wrapped up in giving people limitless access to virtually everything. Today, more than ever, anyone can become an overnight internet sensation. It's easy to become famous, and yet so many people feel empty once they've achieved celebrity status. Maybe that's one of the reasons why so many of these young celebrities have meltdowns. And I shouldn't just say young. I know a lot of celebrities my age that had their meltdowns, and y'all just haven't heard about it because it was old news. But maybe they achieved success so quickly that they didn't have time to develop the character to handle it. It'd be easy to brush them off and think, that's typical to do something foolish or reckless and then just go about our day. But as we're called to go a different way. We are called to bring our chalice light with us wherever we go and to be prepared to understand more deeply what others are experiencing and reacting to. There is great pride in helping others see their worth. Will you join us in hymn number 146, Soon the Day Will Arrive? At this time in our service, we pause to honor and to give time and attention to those things most important to us. We gather here for healing and for peace in our hearts and in the world, and honor our time together with the shared stories and news from the congregation. Each week, there's a journal outside the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of memory or hope. We honor these messages by lighting 3 candles here next to our chalice. Also, at any time during our service, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation center here to the side of the chancel. Today, from our book of memory and hope, we include the following. We continue to hold Roy Redmond in our thoughts for healing while he's facing health challenges. I would also add that Paul Chapman seems to be doing well. He's not here today, but he has good help at home taking care of him. We look for him to be back soon as well. We also have a joy in here that I hope it's okay that I say something. Zakia? Okay. Somebody got engaged. Zakia? So I know we join in her excitement at another chapter in her life. And I'm so excited that we get to be here to walk along with her in it. Our meditation reading comes from Kate Steinberg. Spirit of life, love that calls us to love, care that calls us to care, presence that calls us into presence. Today we remember the people who have paid close attention to us in our lives. These people have loved us into being through the way they witnessed to us. The way they attuned to us both strengthened us and transformed us. There may be only one person we think of who has done this for us throughout our lives. We give thanks to them today. We say, thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for paying close attention to the stirrings in my heart. We also consider someone who may want to be witnessed by us. Perhaps this is someone we haven't been able to make time for, someone we love who dearly wants our attention. May we find a way to say, I'm here with you. I'm paying close attention to the stirrings in your heart. May we continue to cultivate the practice of paying close attention so that more people feel lovingly held in our hurting world. May we meet this moment and all the moments ahead with spaciousness and presence. May we deeply and lovingly witness the person in front of us, beside us, and within us. Let us now pause for a few moments of quiet meditation to hold and uplift the sorrows and celebrations, both spoken and unspoken among us. And Misha will lift our hearts with music. I'm never leaving y'all unless you kick me out of here, because this is so wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So last June, a friend invited me to attend service at a church I had never visited before on the same weekend as the Dallas Pride Parade. Before responding, I went online and I researched whether the church was a welcoming one. For LGBTQ plus people like me, this is a very important question. I decided to join her, and during the service, the deacon preaching the homily was very charismatic. He invited us to think about the practical applications of the gospel, and his examples were pretty thought-provoking. He had caught my attention, and then he started talking about Adam and Eve, their sin, and what he called the biggest sin of all, pride. Over the next 15 minutes, he mentioned the words sin and pride at least 20 times. As seasoned as I am in LGBTQ plus ministry, and as good as I think I've become at not getting triggered easily, I couldn't help but wonder where he was going with this message. I feared his insistence on talking about pride was purposeful and related to the June festivities. I feared his sermon would end up in condemnation of the LGBTQ plus community. I sat highly agitated for about 15 minutes, my body going into an involuntary fight or flight stress response. Should I stand up and leave? I really don't need this today. During the second part of his sermon, however, he got more specific. He talked about how, in a theological sense, pride is defined as an excessive love of one's own perceived excellence and a disregard for the gifts of others. He gave the Pharisees in the Gospels as a good example. The problem with pride is that it leads some to believe that they know more than others and possess absolute truth. It causes them to believe themselves better than others, and, in the Pharisees' case, to condemn those they believe to be wrong, like Jesus. This made me think of a colleague who made a post on social media that said, "Pride isn't about turning straight kids into queer kids. Pride is about not turning queer kids into dead kids." The first response to that post was long and cruel and said that alcoholics and prostitutes don't have a month dedicated to their sins, that she was leading them away from the gospel and blah, 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 going to hell because everything always ends with going to hell. The responder claimed too many churches have become embracing and affirming, and it always ends in death. Then he went on for a bit about the need for mental health services that include conversion therapy. So this guy had that kind of pride. The kind that makes one think that they are better, know more, thinking and living correctly. That kind of pride. Yet, of the 7 so-called deadly sins, pride is the only one with a virtuous side. Virtuous pride exists when there's a consciousness of one's own dignity. It is a victory over the social and cultural forces that seek to make some people believe they are not worthy of God's love because of belonging to a marginalized community. Virtuous pride is a celebration of a paradigm shift. Virtuous pride brings down the wealthy and righteous and lifts up the lowly and marginalized. Similarly, when the LGBTQ plus community celebrates pride, it celebrates the triumph of virtuous love and the recognition of our own God-given dignity, a triumph over the shame we have been told to embrace. We celebrate small steps forward that allow our dignity to be reflected and appreciated in societal structures and our human rights to be respected. Years ago, a minister told me, there's no need to have LGBTQ plus groups in the church. Jesus came for everyone. We all know that. The thing is, not everyone preaches that message or hears that message. Efforts to exclude LGBTQ plus Catholics, Methodists, Episcopalians, Baptists, and others have been very specific for very many years. So efforts to include them will have to be equally specific, or even more so. It's not the deacon's fault that my agitation rose that morning, because it seems he was not talking about the LGBTQ plus community, but the stress response is a result of a very specific exclusionary language that has been uttered in pulpits and other religious circles too many times. There is a sacredness in inclusion, and it is okay to be proud. Will you rise as you are willing or able, in body or spirit, and join us in our closing hymn, number 1030 in the teal hymnal. We are marching in the light of God. We'll be singing 2 verses that will be up on the screens. The first one is marching and the second one is singing. No, I don't mean we're marching physically.
Our chalice words are by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. When we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less. It becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and its warmth with us, multiplying their power by all of our lives and sharing it with the world.
Go forth and be all you are meant to be. Lift up others along the way so they may be their true and authentic selves too. Have pride in the way you love one another. Service is ended. We invite you to join us for coffee and conversation in the library at the rear of the sanctuary. Have a